What's going on, everyone? SurgicalSnipes here, back at it again with another Diablo Immortal video. We are in day 16, y'all. Day 16 of Diablo tries to contact Blizzard Entertainment. Alright, in day 16, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different here. Today, I have compiled some Conqueror PvP matches, We have Conqueror PvP going on right now, and, I was like, you know what? Instead of uploading one match at a time, I might as well just upload a bunch of matches all in one. Alright, so here in this video, it's going to be 12 matches, 12 Conqueror, 11 or 12. I think 12 Conqueror PvP matches where I just commentate on what happens. And yeah, that's going to be this whole video. So it's going to be over an hour long, like an hour and 20 minutes long. All right, so get your popcorn ready, y'all. All right, get cozy, because this is going to be an over 1 hour marathon of Diablo in Conqueror PvP. Conqueror PvP from the POV, from the point of view of the #1 Diablo Immortal player in the world. All right, so let's get right into the action. All right, here we go. This is match number 1. This is gonna be pretty much similar to back when I was streaming back in the day, and I can't wait to start streaming again for y'all. Once I get my PC and all that. Still haven't gotten it yet, and once I get my PC, then I'll be able to stream for y'all. All right, but for those who remember my streams from back in the day. This is pretty much what it's going to be like, So, without further ado, let's get right into the action. Also, before I start commentating, I do notice that there's like a 1 or 2 second delay, maybe like a 2 or 3 second delay sometimes, or if not the whole way, there's like a 2-3 second delay. For some reason, it doesn't capture it live, like exactly, second by second, exactly. I don't know. There's a delay, right? So, just throwing that out there, y'all. I'm just seeing it how I see it right here. So, here we go. Anyways, let's get into the action. Shit, man, this match is almost over. So, we're up 4. This is match number 1. So, we're up 4. We have 4 towers. They have 1. Scores about 500 to 100 something. I'm on an 8 kill streak here. And, yeah. We are in the battles, y'all. We are in the battles. Looks like everything's pretty good here on this match. Got my 10 kill streak right there. What else? Yeah, we're going with it. Fighting a barb here. He's immune to damage. Gotta watch out for that crazy immune to damage stuff, but we got him. Now we're facing a druid here. Alright, my teammate got him there. I'm healing up. I got my Slayer's Rage. It was active there for a second, there for 10 seconds. And that's the thing, y'all, like with what I noticed, like in Battlegrounds, I'm using 1 and 2 star gems, right? And then in Conqueror PvP, I was using 5-star gems in most of these matches. But then I realized towards the end of these matches that I played that, because I was messing with the gem setup, because in Conquer PvP you can only get 6. You can only get 6 gem slots, right? So you have to really pick the gems right. And I thought, hey, maybe I should just go all 5-star gems, or all 1 and 2 star gems, or a mixture, right? So what I was doing for the longest time was using a mixture, like half 5-star gems and half 1 and 2 star gems, or just half 2-star gems. But I realized it's best just to go with all 1 and 2 star gems in Conquer PvP, because they give the most damage, right? They're all damage gems. There's no 20-second, for the most part, there's no 20-second cooldown on most of them, unlike the 5-star gems, which do have the 20-second cooldown. Right? I don't want to have no 20-second cooldown just to get the effect. I want to have that flat damage the whole time. Anyways, y'all, just a heads up for anyone who's thinking about using 1 and 2 star gems in Conqueror PvP. All right, so this match, I was able to get a perfect 16-0. We got the victory. We got the dub. 29.3 score. We are in day 16. And what a way to start this off with the first match here. 16-0. Perfect. Let's go to the next one. All right, y'all. We are in match number 2. Match number 2. Here we go. We are locked in now. We are locked in. What else can I say? I know I got to really talk more about the commentating on this, but what else do I want to talk about first real quick? Oh, yeah. My previous video, if you guys saw it, you know, I was mentioning about my Grandmaster, my secret Grandmaster plan to take over all the servers. Oh, shit, I spoiled it. I wasn't supposed to say that. I was supposed to say that in the video. Anyways, it's nothing new, right? It's not like a big secret. But as you guys know, since I'm the #1 player of the entire game, it means that I'm the true immortal of the entire game. Well, what does that mean? That means that that gold statue that you guys see in the Immortal Lookout, right, for all the servers, you guys know there's a gold statue, right, where the immortals hang out. Okay, so that gold statue where it has somebody's name on it, right, the immortal leader, the immortal leader of the faction, of the immortal faction of that server cluster, right? It has somebody's name, the leader, the immortal leader. Okay. Hopefully I don't offend anybody when I say this, but we all know that the real person, the name, the real golden statue, the name that should be on top of that golden statue of all the freaking servers is my name. You know, that's the truth. That's the truth. And if people get rage baited by that shit, you know, that's on them, you know. But I'm just saying the truth, right? The #1 PvP player can claim that. You know, of course these immortal leaders from the different servers, right? They get the gold statue, right? They organize. They have the leader of their faction, right? Of the clans, of their clan. And then the allied clans with them recognize them as the immortal leader because they're the boss of the whole thing, right? They organized it all, and they led it, right? But we all know, and that's cool. That's cool for them. But because the game is pay to win, right? The game is pay to win. Let's not forget the game is pay to win, right? So the server politics are all unlegit. They're unlegit server politics, right? Because the game is pay to win. So the guys with the most money are the ones who are going to be in the Rite of Exiles and the Challenge of the Immortals and all that server politics stuff that dictates the server politics of who's going to have the immortal reign, right? Of which clan's going to have the immortal reign, right? Which 3 clans. So that's what it is, y'all. So since it's based off the pay to win, then it's considered unlegit, right? Doesn't matter how much you invest into the game, that doesn't equal PvP skill, right? It doesn't. So whoever is trying to defend that shit is completely full of shit. They're completely full of pay to win horse shit, right? Doesn't matter if you spend $1,000 into the game, or $100,000 into the game, or $1 million into the game, right? That doesn't equal, not even 1 cent extra equals a person paying just even 1 cent more, $1 more or 1 cent more, whatever, doesn't equal to PvP skill. It doesn't equal to higher PvP skill. And anybody will tell you that shit. You know, shit, I'm saying it right now because we know it's the truth. So, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this, and I really hope that I don't offend people on that. You know, for the people who are in charge of their factions. Look, man, you know, you guys are doing your thing, you know. It's not your fault the game is pay to win, right? And I'm not knocking y'all for that. But let's be honest here, you know. Let's be honest. Just for 1 second, right? If it wasn't pay to win, if it wasn't pay to win, and the server politics were dictated by fair play PvP, like in Conqueror PvP here, then we all know whose name is gonna be on that shit, on all the freaking gold statues of all the servers. You know what I'm saying? And that's not me bragging and boasting about it. I'm just speaking the truth here, y'all. You know, and if the truth offends people, well then I don't know what to say. You know, I'm just saying it the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, I can go on and on about that, and I'm gonna talk about that more in my other in my videos, explaining it more of how I'm going to do all this, of how I'm gonna take over all the servers as the legit true immortal of Diablo Immortal, right? Because it's me. That's the only reason I'm saying all this shit, right? It's because it's really me. So that's why I'm saying this. That's why I don't have to say this shit. I could have just kept my mouth shut and, you know, just do my own thing. But because I'm trying to inform the community of the truth, that's why I'm doing this, y'all. Now, some people might think it's bragging and boasting, and nah, man, it's just the truth. Imagine being in my situation, right? I'm the king of the game. Okay, I'm the #1 player and all that shit, right? And then the game is pay to win, and I'm not a whale. So the server politics are dictated by whichever clans have the biggest wells, right? Whichever clans have the biggest wells of that server, they're gonna take over the immortal reign, right? I'm not knocking the fact that they have more money than I do, right? Of course, a shitload of people have more money than I do, right? But when it comes to PvP skill, you know, you can't buy that. You can't buy PvP skill. Not just in this game, not just in any game, you know. And people know that. Skills doesn't equal... PvP skills doesn't equal to who has more money than the other person, right? But because, you know, this game, not just this game, but other games in this genre of pay to win, the pay to win genre in mobile gaming, you know, it's going to be run by the whales, right? So it doesn't really go to the leaderboards and stuff, doesn't really go to the guys who are actually the best of the best in the game, PvP wise or skill wise. It goes to the guys who paid the most money into the game, right? So they pretty much became investors into the game. Like, they pretty much own stock into the company, you know, just to have their name on the leaderboards or to take over the server politics. And that ain't right. It ain't right because, you know, it's not the truth when it comes to PvP skill. And that's what I'm trying to say with all that, you know. So I'm going to talk about this more in my video that I was talking about in my secret Grandmaster plan to take over all the servers as the one true immortal of Diablo Immortal, right? Because it's me. And as you guys can see here in these videos here, you know, it is what it is. And that's why I'm doing this, because I want to let you guys know what the truth is in Diablo Immortal, right? So anyways, that's what I'm saying with that. And I'm going to be talking about it more. And then what else? I'm going to be the name of this whole thing is going to be called The True Immortal Crusades. Once I'm able to do what I got to do, and Blizzard recognizes me as Diablo, and I have this outlined in my descriptions and all my videos if you guys want to see all that. But in that description, it shows where it says, what does it say? It says a max resonance account in all regions, right? So because the game is pay to win, so all I need is a max resonance account in all regions. That way I can begin the true immortal crusades, and I'll be duking it out, you know, battling with all the whales from all the servers, with a clan of my own, right? I have to do some recruiting. I have to do some recruiting here. any allied clan that wants to join mine in the true Immortal Crusades, now that would be a great thing. You know, that would be a crazy content, right? It'd be the best content for Diablo Immortal ever. You know? Imagine that, the #1 player going to all the servers with his allied clans, with his clan and allied clans, and just fighting and competing in the server politics. What do you think's gonna happen? You know, if I do that, you know, if I'm able to actually do that, you know, what do you guys honestly think's gonna happen? You know, if there's no foul play involved, like if nobody starts cheating or something or anything like that. I mean, you guys see what's on the screen right there, right now, right? I get the most kills. What I get? I get 27 kills here. I went 27-6. You see? So like I said, what I'm saying is the truth, y'all. That's the only reason I'm talking like this, because it's the truth. And that's exactly what would happen. All right. Let's see here. So, what is this? Match number 3? I lost count because I was losing track. You know, this video was supposed to be about all the comments, you know, the commentating on my matches here, and it, you know, I'm thinking about a different freaking thing right now on the other one, or I should just talk about it here the whole time. Nah, I shouldn't do that. You know, I gotta make a separate video talking about the true Immortal Crusades, but I guess that's a sneak peek, right? That's the general outline of what my plan is in Diablo Immortal, because it's the truth. If it was fair play PvP, then, you know, this would already have been done in year 1. Right? The only thing stopping me is the pay to win. You take away the pay to win, and then this is what's gonna happen, you know. My name will be on all the gold statues of all the servers. Why? Because I'm the #1 PvP player of the entire freaking thing. That's the only reason why. And the people who understand that, they'll understand that it's the truth. And that's why I'm talking like this, because it's the truth, y'all. It's the truth. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about it right now, because I want to actually talk about these matches here. Okay, but anyways, that's what it is, y'all. So, let's get right into the action here. So, and that's not to say, real quick here, that's not to say that Conqueror PvP, like, this is the fair play PvP mode, right? There's no secondaries, there's no charms or runes or familiars, none of that stuff. No combat rating. There's nothing here. Everything's all 0. But it's still not without its flaws, right? There's a lot of one-shot builds out there, 1 or 2-shot builds out there, broken classes, broken builds. Right now, it's pretty much the barbs, the monks, and the satyrs that are dominating this, because they just have too much. They have untargetable or immune to damage, invincible builds that can 1 or 2-shot players, and that's pretty much how I die all the time in this shit, you know. And right, the only reason, right, the only way I die in this shit is because the guy is invincible or he's untargetable, which makes me think I should just, you know, do the same thing and just class change into a class that does that, right? Either a barb or a monk or something, you know. Because it's annoying, right? I'm sure you guys know about that shit, right? It's annoying. It's annoying if you're a class that doesn't have immune to damage or untargetable skills, and then these guys, the other classes, have it. It's like, shit, what the hell, right? Because you're gonna lose that 1v1 every time if the guy's invincible or untargetable. So they gotta fix that. I hope they fix it. I really hope they fix that, because it's not right. It's not right that should be going on. Either everybody, I think the best way to do the class balance would be to either everybody has it either everybody has that same exact immune to damage or untargetable time, or nobody should have it. Right? Because it doesn't make sense, right? As far as class balance is concerned. There's no reason why one or two or other classes should be invincible and untargetable for who knows how many seconds, and other classes don't have that same exact invincibility time. No, that's bullshit, you know? All right, this match is over. We got the dub here. Right, because they have an extreme advantage, you know? It's a one-sided advantage, and that ain't right. Even me, right, being the number one player of the entire thing, of the entire game, you know, even I have my trouble with all that, right? Because I'm fighting players that are invincible. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? I'm fighting players that are freaking invincible. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good I am at the game. You know, if I'm fighting a guy that's invincible, and I get one or two shotted from that, you know, it's not going to work out for me, right? So, anyways, y'all, that's my take on all that. Hopefully they fix it, you know, and I hope I can go to Blizzard HQ eventually and as soon as possible and talk to the devs so we can fix these issues, you know. And I really hope they'll hear me out on my feedback and suggestions, you know, to make the game more balanced, because, and the quality of life and all that for the game, because, you know, if they hear me out, I really think we can make the game way more playable, way more enjoyable for players, because you see it all the time, right, in the discords and all that. A lot of people are complaining about class balance and this stuff and that stuff, and you know, we're not going to talk about the pay to win stuff, right, because the pay to win stuff is just, you know, that's its own thing. But as far as class balance is concerned, you know, we can fix that. You know, and even the pay to win stuff can be mitigated by having this game mode, right, Conqueror PvP, available 24/7 or available during the regular battleground windows. That way people have a choice to pick whether or not they want to play pay to win PvP or fair play PvP, like Conqueror PvP, like this one. You see, like Conqueror PvP here. So hopefully we will get that going with leaderboards, and not just on this map, on the tower and the Tower War map here, but also in the other battleground maps. Right? That way the players can choose which kind of PvP they want to play. Because right now Conqueror PvP is just a limited time event, just for the weekend. Like every other 2 weeks or 3 weeks it pops up. Right? This is my favorite time. This is my favorite time to play the game. Right? I'm so happy when this game mode is out, because this is the actual PvP. Right? It's the fair play PvP mode. Right? But besides the broken build shit of getting one-shotted and two-shotted by people who are invincible and untargetable, like the monks and the barbs, or even the satyrs even, you know, this is my favorite time to play the game, right? Here I don't have to worry about grinding, about farming, grinding paragon levels, combat rating, grinding dungeons, or any of that shit, you know. Right, because I'm mostly like 20, 30 levels or more, 20, 30, 40 levels behind other players. I'm like 20 levels behind server paragon or some shit like that. Right, because all that shit doesn't mean shit in fair play PvP. Right? I'm not a PvE guy, right? And I don't like PvE. You know, it's not my thing. It's a chore for me. It's a chore. In my opinion, it's a chore. I just don't enjoy it, you know. I'd rather just be doing this. I'd rather just be playing fair play PvP. As soon as I log in, I just want to play fair play PvP. I shouldn't have to do something else that I don't want to be doing just to make the PvP playable, right? Which is the battlegrounds, right? The battlegrounds, you have to always keep your gear up for the difficulty. And that's not too bad, but still. Don't get me started with what it takes to freaking min-max my gear like the way I want it, you know? Because that shit's all bad, you know, with the dungeons and all that, and crafting wisps and all, crafting set items, you know, with the 5 wisps, and if it doesn't roll your way, if it doesn't roll the right attributes, then it's just all bullshit, then you gotta do it all over again. That's just the most ridiculous shit. You know, I don't like that. I don't think nobody likes that, you know? It's like a punishment, you know? It's like, oh, I gotta keep doing it over and over, playing the same freaking dungeons all freaking day, just to freaking have a chance of rolling my attributes right, you know, my set item attributes right. That's not right, you know. It's like, what the hell, right? The point of gaming is to have fun, you know, not to make it feel like a chore, you know. That's why I do as little as PvE as possible, because it's just, I don't enjoy it, right? I know there's players that do enjoy it, right? They like to do raids and they like to min-max their gear with the best stuff, getting those drops and all that with the RNG. But I'm not a big fan of that, you know. Whereas in games like League of Legends, for example, or Dota, or what was the other one, or even on mobile here, right? Mobile Legends, you can pick your gear, you can pick your loadout, you can create your build from scratch right there, you know. You pick your best build, and that's it. All the items are good to go. Here, the essences, oh man, don't get me started with the essences. The essences, you have to freaking go and look for them, and there's no guarantee you're gonna find it unless you have a lot of resonance or a lot of magic find percentage, right? Me, I'm like at 60%, 65% magic find, you know. It's like going in the needle in the haystack. It's like a needle in the haystack, you know. So looking for those legendary the legendary essences, you know. That ain't right. And that's with 65% or 60% magic find percentage, you know. So imagine the players that have less than that. Good luck trying to find those legendary items to make your meta builds. It's ridiculous, right? And it doesn't help like at all. It doesn't help at all, because now, like for me, for example, I don't even want a class change, right? Because if I class change, then I gotta go in PvE all day and night, just trying to find the freaking essences. Who knows when that'll happen, you know? And there's like 9 classes in the game, right? There's 8 or 9. There's like 9 classes in the game. So you see what I'm saying? Do you guys see where I'm going with all that? Like, there's no way I'm gonna be freaking grinding all those fucking essences with 65% magic find percentage, you know, just to try and make the meta builds, and it's just bullshit. If they want to monetize it, then let them monetize it. That way people can just buy the freaking essences, you know. If it comes down to that, because that way it'll save the fucking long ass grind time of looking for those essences, you know. Right? I would love to try all the other different classes, you know, and try the meta builds, right? But I'm not gonna freaking PvE all day for weeks at a time or a month at a time just to freaking find the essences. That's ridiculous. Right? I'm not even in a clan right now, right? So what happens to people that don't even have their own clan? I mean, that are not even in their own clan. They're not even in a clan. What if they don't have any friends, right? That can easily help them out, you know, and do 4-player open world farming and all that shit. You see? How about for the solo players that just want to play alone? Okay, now I get it. You know, it's an MMORPG for the most part, right? ARPG or whatever. And it's encouraged to socialize, but there are people who don't even want to talk to anybody at all. And you know, anyways, it's not a big deal, right? But the thing is this. If there's players out there, right? If they have high resonance and they have high magic find percentage, then they're gonna find the gear right away. But the people who don't have that, who aren't dolphins or whales, who didn't invest into the game, who didn't put hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars into the game, you know, or just know people who can help them out right away in the farming, you know, they're the ones that get shit out of luck, you know. For example, if I want to play as a barb, or what's it called, or a monk or something, or a satyr, and let's say I want to play Conquer PvP or Battlegrounds as those classes, I couldn't do that right now, right? Because I don't have the essences, you know. And the way I play PvE, it would take forever. It would take forever because I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to do all that shit, right? Because it's just ridiculous. But anyways, y'all, hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about with all this stuff, and when it comes to class changing, and you know, I would love to try all the classes, but I don't want to do all that PvE shit, you know, right? Because it's not my thing. A new what's it called? We're gonna be in another hell difficulty, right? Inferno 12 right now. Most players are Inferno 11, and the hardcore PvE players are already in Inferno 12, as far as their 1400 Paragon, you know. It's one of the things I hate the most, right? Hate's too big of a word. I get really frustrated, annoyed by each new difficulty, right? Each new Infernal difficulty or Hell difficulty. Each new difficulty that people have to go to, because why? Because we have to refarm all the gear, and we got to refarm everything again. What does that mean? That means more PvE time, right? It's just like, fuck, man. And I can go on and on about all that shit, right? And I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? If you're a Diablo Immortal player, you know what I'm talking about, man. And it's just like shit, man. It is what it is, y'all. But like I said, see, that's why I love Conquer PvP. Because Conquer PvP, when it's fair play PvP, you don't got to worry about any of that shit. Right? Because it shouldn't come down to that, right? They should separate PvE stuff from PvP stuff. What does that mean? That means that if people want to clear stuff on PvE, then they have to grind. Then they have to grind all that PvE stuff. Right? The dungeons, getting their levels, getting their gear min-max and everything to get the numbers up higher on their gear and all that. Right? To match the world level, or at least they call it world level in most MMOs, or right? Because it keeps going up over time, and they gotta just separate it, man. PvP and PvE do not mix. Okay, there are players that just want to play player versus player, just like what we're doing here in Conquer PvP, and that's all they want to do. Like me, for example, that's all I want to do. This is all I want to do on different maps, right? And with leaderboards, this is all we want to do for the PvP players, you know. I don't want anything to do with PvE. I get it, you know, Diablo is started as a PvE game, right? But now we have this. We have this arena style PvP mode, right? The Battlegrounds and Conquer PvP and a couple other game modes. And now we got to address that. Players didn't spend thousands or hundreds of thousands or even over $1 million in the game to play PvE. They did it to play PvP, right? They did it to have that advantage in PvP. And also, they're going to have that advantage in PvE also, right? They're going to get the best gear. They're going to have the highest stats, the highest combat rating stuff and all that shit, right? And, yeah, you know, If you keep PvP and PvE separate, it'll be way better off. Right? Because there are players that like both. But what a player does in PvE shouldn't be crossing over into PvP. Right? And the stats shouldn't be all different. Right? Just because a player grinds all day PvE doesn't mean his stats should be higher than mine in PvP if I don't grind PvE all day. Not to mention the people who AFK farm and have pilots on their accounts to have the account playing PvE 24/7, you know, or whatever. The players who have like with 20 levels ahead of Server Paragon or 15 levels ahead of Server Paragon all the time. Right? There's not that much time in the day. You know, who the hell's gonna do all that? There are people that do it, right? Are some people legit like that? Maybe. But a lot of them, they're having more than one person on their account. I'm not saying everybody does it like that, but I mean, shit. There's only 24 hours in a day. Is the guy gonna spend 12 hours a day, every day playing PvE? 12 hours a day or more, 12 plus hours a day playing PvE all day. I'm sure they're out there, right? I'm sure there's a lot of PvE players out there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of PvE players, right? They want to min-max all their gear, get the best in slot gear and all that. Everything all min-maxed, and I'm sure that's cool and all that, especially with speedrunners. Right? Speedrunners do that all the time. They get all their shit perfect, you know, and you know, PvE is its own thing, and I'm not taking anything away from that, right? The speedrunners are just the players who just want to have the min-max possible PvE gear in whatever game they're playing, right? In the ARPGs, that's what it is, right? ARPGs, most of it's PvE, you know, just circle loop farming and, you know, dungeon grinding, and I get it. Believe me, I get it. You know, I play it also, right? I'm an ARPG player also, right? But the thing is, we have PvP. We have the PvP category also, which is this one. Right? The Battlegrounds, the Conqueror PvP, even the Alley of Blood also. And, you know, it's two separate things. It's two different things, right? One is against the computer, and one is against real players. Right? And I like to play the game mode against other players. Right? Competition, competing, right? PvP, you know, player versus player. And for me, that's the most exciting part of the game, which is the PvP modes. Right? But I'm sure, you know, I'm not knocking off PvE, you know, like people want to play PvE, then that's fine. It's up to them, right? It's its own thing. It's its own different mode. But like I was saying before, it shouldn't be crossing into the PvP. The PvE should not be what you do in PvE shouldn't cross into PvP. Right? PvP should be its own thing. For example, if the guy's PvE, his stats are all min-max all the way. He brings that into the battlegrounds, and then the other guy doesn't have that shit, right? Then it becomes an uneven PvP contest, right? Well, then the other side might say, "Oh, well, you know, maybe they should play PvE more and get their stats up." All right, I'm not saying that. I'm not arguing that. You know, I'm not debating that. You know, of course, that's what they have to do right now. Currently, the way the system is, right? You have to fucking play PvE to fucking get your stats best in slot or min-max to have the stats playable, you know, for that difficulty or whatever, you know. And all that shit is bullshit. I'll tell you why. Because even if I freaking min-max the best I can possible for my Demon Hunter, PvEing all day, playing PvE all day, then, you know, it wouldn't mean shit. You know why? Because there's still that resonance thing, the resonance stat, right? It's still, have you forgotten the game is pay to win, right? So even if I had everything all min-maxed out and I did the whole PvE grind, you know, and getting the best in slot gear and all that good stuff, I'll still just get one-shotted. Or I won't be able to do any damage at all to the player who spent thousands into the game. Right? So that's why it's a bullshit thing. It's bullshit, right? It's one thing if I did freaking was able if I did was if I was able to get all the PvE stuff, all min max and all that, all my gear min max and all that, and I was able to freaking compete in the battlegrounds legitly, you know, then that'd be one thing, right? But it's not like that. You know, it's not like that. Doesn't matter how much you min max or whatever. The guy that spent more than you is still gonna freaking one shot you every single time. If he knows how to play the game. And you won't be able to do any damage to him or nothing. It's just stupid. And I don't understand how people defend this, you know. People defend pay to win. I don't understand those kind of people, right? Maybe because they're whales or dolphins and they wanna they're protecting what they're doing, right? Because they hit that $99 button thousands of times or whatever, and you know, they're defending that because they're already into it. They're already invested into the game like that. And their argument is, oh, I always love this argument. You know, it's so funny how people say this shit. They say, oh, well, if we didn't have any whales, then there would be no game. All right, that is the biggest crock of horse shit I've ever heard of in my life, man. You know, if there were no whales to invest in the game, there would be no game. You know how stupid that sounds, man. Honestly, that's so fucking stupid. Okay, look at games like League of Legends, right? I think we all know what League of Legends is, right? The biggest game out there as far as esports and all that. League of Legends, Counter-Strike, right? The big esport games, right? Major global following. Everybody who's a video gamer knows about these games, right? Even Call of Duty, even Fortnite. What else? There's so many freaking esport games or just major big games that are not pay to win. That the PvP is not pay to win, right? They just monetize the skins. They monetize some kind of battle pass or something. But the PvP isn't pay to win. So you mean to tell me that, you know, because there's no whales, that those games are not pay to win, that they weren't better off not being pay to win? I'm sure they're doing fine just the way they are right now, right? The PvP isn't the PvP isn't pay to win there, and they're doing pretty good for themselves, right? You see, so I don't understand how people are gonna have that kind of argument there, or that kind of debate, saying, oh, if there were no whales, there would be nobody, then the company wouldn't make new stuff for the game, right? That's bullshit. That's bullshit, right? You don't gotta have a monthly subscription. You don't gotta have somebody spending $100,000 into the game or more to keep the game alive. You know, the game was made before the whales started investing. You see what I'm saying? The thing is this: if you want more people, then you gotta make it fair play. Look, again, I keep mentioning League of Legends, right? Because I came from League of Legends on the phone, right? League of Legends Wild Rift. That was the game I played before I played this one. And if you, what's it called? If you keep the PvP fair play, like I mentioned before, look at League of Legends, right? Look at League of Legends. Big global esport, big global game. Millions of players, right? That's what I'm saying, y'all. That's what I'm saying. So I don't want to hear that shit where people say, oh, you know, if you don't have any whales or dolphins investing into the game, then there would be no game. That's bullshit. Why? Because there's games out there that are global games, right? Major global followings. And they don't got to monetize their PvP. You know, they monetize it other ways, right? Through cosmetics, battle passes, or whatever. But you don't want to monetize the PvP. Because if you monetize the PvP, then that's just catering to only 1% of the gaming population, right? The whales, right? How many people are going to spend $1,000 on a video game? Let's be honest here, right? Like back in the day, you know, it was like $60 for the game, $60 for the game, and that's it. $60 for the game, that's it. Okay, you want to buy the cosmetic or something? Okay, you can buy the cosmetics. That's gonna cost a little extra, but $60 for the game. That was it. $60 for the game. You know. And then companies started realizing, oh shit, you know, we can be making more than $60 per game if we add in all this extra stuff, cosmetics and battle passes and this and that. Okay, fine, but just don't monetize the PvP, because then it becomes unlegit. It becomes unlegit PvP. And what I talk so strongly about this, because it's so frustrating for players, you know, the guys who are actually the best in the game. For me, for example, right? I'm the best in this game, right? And that's not me bragging and boasting about it. That's just a fact. And, you know, the pay to win prevents me from doing what I'm supposed to naturally be able to do in the game. Right? For example, in this one, right? I'm saying I'm the true immortal of the entire game. What does that mean? That means that I rule all the servers as the one true immortal of the game. Right? Doesn't matter what nobody says or tries to do in the PvP. They're going to get destroyed in the PvP when I'm in there. That's not me bragging and boasting. That's just a fact. So if it's a fact, if it's the truth, then that's what I'm saying, y'all. Okay? I know it comes across as being bragging and boasting, or freaking, you know, just I'm pretty much sound like an asshole here sometimes when I talk about this. But the thing is this: try and put yourself in my shoes for 1 second, right? I'm the king of the game, right? I'm the king of the game. Every day I gotta go and see a freaking golden statue with somebody's name on it. That's not me, because it's unlegit. So every day I gotta go and look at a golden statue that's a fake statue, a fake gold statue. Okay. Because that's not the right way to do it. You know, that's not the right way. How, if it was legit, then I'd be okay. It's all good. It's all good, right? But if it's not legit, then why the fuck it? Then why? There's the conflict. See, there's the conflict, because it's not legit. Every gold statue in the game should have my name on it. Why? Because I'm the true immortal of the entire game. It's as simple like that. And what are these guys gonna say? Oh, well, you didn't pay into the game and this and that, and you're not a whale, and come on, man, that's bullshit, and you know it. You guys know that shit. It's not right, right? Their defense is that they have money, and that's why they're able to do this, right? My defense is, dude, I'm the #1 player of the fucking game. Calm the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how big your fucking bankroll is, dude. I'm gonna pretty much shit on you every time on this game, you know. And that's not saying I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna die either. I die and shit also. You guys see it here. I'm dying left and right here in this game. But again, is it legit? I'm not dying because the other guy is mechanically better than me in the game. I'm dying because the guy's invincible or untargetable. That's the only reason I'm dying. You know, that's the only reason I'm fucking dying, is because the guy's invincible, because he has a broken build, a broken one-shot build, right? I got a one-shot, two-shot build also. But I'm not fucking invincible. You know what I'm saying? They have the 1 or 2 shot build and they're invincible, right? And that's why I'm thinking about class changing to either Barb, Satyr, or Monk, you know, because that way I don't have to worry about this shit no more, you know, of dying because the guy's invincible or some shit, or untargetable. It's stupid, you know. See, but this is what pay to win games does, you know. You see, it breeds this this fucking how do I say it? It makes this conflict between the free to play, the low spenders, and the whales and dolphins, because, right, it's pretty much pitting against players who, the rich and the poor type of shit, you know, right? And any hater of mine, they're just gonna say, or doubter of mine, they're just gonna say, oh, you know, you're broke, you're poor. Like, what does that have to do with me fucking kicking your ass in the video game, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, nothing, right? Look at the guys I'm playing here, right? Some of you guys might know who these players are in the games I'm playing here, right? Some of them are big spenders, right? They're big spenders. Some of them have 10k resonance or more. Some of them were Bout of Realms contenders, right? Bout of Realms, they're in the Bout of Realms. Their teams place very high. And look what I'm able to do to them. You see what I'm saying? Because this is fair play PvP, minus the broken build shit that's going on around. So this is fair play PvP. Everybody's stats are the same. Everybody's level is the same. Everything's all the same. You see? And when everything's all the same, this is the kind of result that happens. Why? Because it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. So that's why I'm talking like this, guys, you know. Anybody's saying otherwise, look, think about it. It's just they're just full of shit. You know? And I don't want to sound like some crazy asshole, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm trying to make you guys understand, you know, and hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from here, you know. So back to what I was saying. Back to what I was saying as far as, you know, taking over all the servers and seeing unlegit gold statues everywhere in all the regions, in all the freaking regions of the game, and all the servers of all the regions, right? My name is supposed to be on all of those fucking things. Why? Because I am the true immortal of the game. That's why, you know, I'm a little frustrated here. I get annoyed, right? Anyways, I can't do it alone. Nobody can do it alone, right? You have to have a clan, or you have to have at least a team of 8. You have to have at least 8 teams, right? 8 teams to compete and all that shit. In the Row and the Shadow Wars and all that shit. Challenge of the Immortal, everything. And that's another thing I want to talk about. The Challenge of the Immortals. The Challenge of the Immortal. You know, and before I even talk about the Challenge of the Immortal, let me go back to the point what I was making here of what pay-to-win games do to the player base. Okay? What do pay-to-win games do to the player base is that what pay-to-win games do to the player base is that it pits pretty much the rich versus the poor type of stuff, you know? That's the environment here. That's the environment that's going on with pay-to-win games. Not just this game. I'm not just saying this game. All the games that are pay-to-win, it pretty much pits the rich players versus the poor players. You know, the rich, the middle class. If you want to break it down even more, right? You got the rich, the upper middle class, the working class, and the free-to-play, or they're going to say poor players against each other, you know? Right? The rich players think that they run the whole fucking game, that they can do anything they want in it because the players who didn't spend thousands into the game are not going to be able to hurt them. So that's what happens. You see, what happens here in this situation, in this kind of PvP environment, or in this kind of pay-to-win environment in gaming, what happens is that it gives... It's a lose-lose for everyone here, right? Because this is... I'll break it down here. Because for the whales, for example, it gives them... What pay-to-win games do for whales is that it gives them a false sense of confidence in their skills in the game. It's a false sense of confidence. What's really going on here, right? They spend thousands on the game, right, to blow up their stats all the way, to play the game on God mode pretty much, or just to be able to play amongst each other, amongst other whales. And, you know, what happens is that it gives them a false sense of confidence in their skills in the game, because 99% of the player base aren't going to be able to even hurt them or give them any kind of challenge. They won't be able to do any kind of damage to them in the game, and they're just going to one-shot them in the game if they just do one skill attack button, or even just a primary attack. Just being standing right next to them, they're just going to freaking evaporate, right? Get one-shotted. And that's just a false sense of confidence. That gives the whale a false sense of confidence in their actual skills. Okay? They're playing the game on easy mode. They're playing the game on the easiest of settings. They're playing the game on easy mode, trying to make everybody believe that they're... trying to pretend to make everyone believe that they're good players. And you know, they get no credit, right? It's tough for them to sell that, right? They can't sell that they're a good player if they're having all this shit equipped. If they have all their stats blown up all the way, right? You can't convince anybody with half a brain that you're a good player if you're playing the game on easy mode with the easiest of conditions. All your stats, everything all maxed out and everything, right? That's not how you prove it. So that's with the whales and dolphins, right? And then what's it called? The free to play or low spenders. What happens with them, right? They can still min-max and all that and do the best they can, but then they're gonna reach that they're gonna reach that paywall gap. They're gonna hit that paywall where they cannot increase their resonance, or they can't what's it called? They can't get any stronger anymore because that's the maximum. They already maxed out as far as they possibly can as on their character, as getting as strong as they possibly can. But eventually there's a limit, right? They can't get any more resonance. They can't get any stronger, and that's why there's that gap right there. You see, and how many people are going to actually min-max everything to the most possible? Not that many, right? Because there's a lot of casual players also that just want to relax and chill, and they don't care about this kind of stuff, right? But what I'm saying here is that for the free-to-play players or the low spenders that want to compete, they become discouraged, right? They become discouraged. They don't want to, because let's be honest here, nobody wants to get one-shotted all day because the other guy freaking spent more into the game than he did. You know, what happens is this. What happens is that the free-to-play or low-spender player gets tired of just being well food. They call it being well food, where they're just there in the PvP match just to freaking make the other, to make the well pretend that he's good, just to make the well look good, to pretend to make the well look good, and you know, who the fuck wants to be around for that kind of shit? You know, that's bullshit, right? So what ends up happening is either A, they just conform to the fact that they're just always going to get one-shotted by the whales and be well food in PvP, or they in pay-to-win PvP, or they just say, fuck this shit, I'm not playing this no more. I'm not playing another pay-to-win game in my life. And then they're going to pretty much uninstall the game and leave the game, right? How many players have left this game because it's pay to win, right? How many gaming companies that cover the game, right, that make guides for the game, that cover the game and make guides for the game, online guides and content for the game, how many of those left because the game is pay to win, right? They didn't want to cover it no more. Right, because nobody really wants to stand behind something that's unlegit when it comes to PvP and stuff like that, or pay to win in general, right? Because it's not legit. Make no mistake about it, pay to win is not legit. And I don't understand why they did it like this. I mean, yeah, you want to follow the mobile gaming trend, but you know, at what cost? So many people talk shit about this game, not just this game, but so many pay to win games, right? Because true PvP players are not gonna fucking take this shit seriously if it's not if the PvP is unlegit, right? And that's why it's like that, because you're not going to convince somebody you're good at the game if your stats are all blown up and the other guy's isn't. You know, that's just the way it goes. So anyways, that's what I'm trying to make this point here when it comes to the what happens. This is what happens to players, you know, who are conditioned to play pay to win games now, with the whales and the dolphins, free to play and low spenders, right? It gives the whales a false sense of confidence in their actual true skill abilities in the game, their natural skill level, and then the free to play or low spenders who are tired of getting one-shotted all day by the being well food, it's just going to discourage them, and they're just going to leave the game and play something else that isn't pay to win. That way they don't have to deal with that shit, right? Because it's bullshit. Can't just cater to 1% of the player base and ignore the other 99%. You know, it's ridiculous. So that's what I'm saying, y'all, with all that. Anyways, so that's what my thoughts on that. And then the challenge of the immortal, right? Let's go back now to the challenge of the immortal, right? The deciding factor of what happens, of which clans are gonna hit the immortal reign, right? You can get 3 clans in an immortal reign. You got the main clan, the immortal clan, and then you got the allied clans, the allied immortal clans, right? And I don't like that system. I don't know if they've changed it or not, but I think they still the same, where they have all the top 10 clans at the end of it all. They freaking just duke it out and shit, and then whoever wins that, then the winner becomes the immortal clan. And you know, how corrupt is that? You know, the way it's set up, terrible idea. Maybe it's still like that. I don't know because I don't participate in that stuff, right? But I'm pretty sure it might be just like that still, right? You got 10 freaking teams of 3 players just all attacking each other. So what happens if you have it set up like that? What happens is that you got teams working with each other who are allies, who are not going to attack each other at all, and then they're just going to cover each other's backs. So what ends up happening is that if you're not in on it, then you're pretty much facing multiple teams attacking you. You got 3 guys. If you're not in on the joke, then freaking you got so many other players attacking. If you're in a team of 3, and there's like 4, 5, 6 teams attacking you, you know, it's just not a good time, right? That's as corrupt as it gets. And it shouldn't be like that. What I believe should happen to decide is that they still have the bracket system, like some kind of bracket system. So that way the allied teams are able to, you know, they can still decide their match between each other, you know, because they're in on it, right? They're on Discord talking to each other and shit, you know. And then the teams who are not in on it, they still have a chance to go up against and win the whole thing, right? Because that's what would happen if it was like that. Then of course the team that I'm in is gonna probably most likely win all the time, that shit, because I'm the number 1 player of the game, right? So that's what I'm saying with all that. So that's how I think the challenge of the immortal should be decided. You know, it's like they should make it like a bracket system. That way there's none of that bullshit, horse shit going on where people are all in on it. You know, 3 or 4 or 5 teams of 3 players are all in on the fucking joke, and they're all just protecting each other and shit, and giving 0 chance for a team that's not in on it to it's rigged. It's rigged, right? It's fucking rigged. So we got to fix that, you know. I think that's how it is nowadays. I think that, unless the bracket system is in place, I think it's just a bracket. I think it's still like the way I just explained it, where it's just a bunch of teams of 3, and it's just nonsense, you know. But like I said, a bracket system, a thing where it's one team versus another team, and they just keep going up the ladder, that would really that would fix everything, you know. That would fix the whole bullshit that's been going on for years. As soon as I figured out when that was going on in the beginning, like I'm a launch player, right? I'm a day 1 player. I play this shit since the beginning, back in 2022. And as soon as I realized that's what was going on, I was like, oh my god, this is bullshit, you know. So it shouldn't be decided that way, because it obviously it only favors the clans that are all in on it, you know. And that's not right. Anyways, y'all. So, like I said, the True Immortal Crusades. I'm going to talk about it more in my next video. The True Immortal Crusades, that's the campaign that I'm going to be doing. The only thing stopping me is having a max resonance account, right? I need to have a max resonance account to do this. If it was fair play PvP like in here, like in Conquer PvP, then I wouldn't need a max resonance account, right? I would just be able to do the same exact thing that I'm doing here in fair play PvP, right? In the Conquer PvP. But because the game is pay to win, I'm like, okay, I gotta get a max resonance account, and I'm asking Blizzard, y'all. I'm asking Blizzard for this shit. I'm asking Blizzard to honor the truth. And, you know, like I said, it would make for great content. Imagine the #1 player of the entire game going up against everybody in all the servers of all the regions. Me and my team, me and my clan, and allied clans going to all the servers and giving some good competition, right? That would be a great show, man. Wouldn't that be a great show? That'd be a great show. Can I pull it off? I don't know. It's not all up to me, is it? It's not one-on-one. It's freaking. It's a team of 8, right? You gotta have like 8 or 10 teams on your side or something. So it is what it is, y'all. That would be great. That would be like the greatest freaking content out there, you know, in Diablo Immortal. You know, I would fucking be so happy if that were, if we can make it happen like that. The only thing stopping me is the pay to win bullshit, right? But if I can get a max resonance account, then if Blizzard gives me a max resonance account, then I'll be able to do it. If not, then it ain't gonna happen, right? If the game's pay to win. But if it's like this, well, you guys see what I do already in fair play PvP. You see, and that's why I'm talking like this, y'all, because it's the truth. It's so easy to understand my story. It's so easy to understand my story, y'all. Okay, the only reason I die is because the guy is invincible and shit, or untargetable. That's the only reason I die. If he doesn't have that, then I'm gonna win the battle. So that's why I'm able to claim all this shit, right? That's why I'm saying I'm the true immortal of Diablo Immortal, the true immortal leader of Diablo Immortal, right? And for context, for someone who don't understand this, maybe you guys don't play the game or not, but in the Immortal faction, there's 3 factions, right? The Adventurers, the Shadows, and the Immortals. Okay, well, in the Immortals, the highest rank for the Immortal leader is called the Immortal, or Immortal Leader, right? So the leader of the Immortals is called the Immortal. Doesn't mean he's immortal, like in the sense where he's immortal, like we can't kill him. In the sense of just that's just the name of the leader of the faction. It's called of the Immortal faction. He's just called the Immortal or Immortal Leader. So that's what it is, y'all. And since I'm the #1 PvP player of this entire freaking thing, that's why I'm saying I'm the true immortal of Diablo Immortal, aka Diablo himself. Right? Because I proved it. I proved this for years already. You know, and back to what I was mentioning when I said that the whales, they're playing the game on easy mode because they have little to no competition. Right? They're able to one-shot everybody that's below them in the resonance, and they're just competing amongst each other, which only accounts for 1% of the player base. They're playing the game on easy mode, whereas I'm playing the game on hardcore mode in the battlegrounds, right? I only equip 1 and 2 star gems. I only equip 1 and 2 star gems. I'm only going to the battlegrounds with 1 and 2 star gems. No charms, no runes, no familiars, no ancient gear, etc. None of that stuff's equipped. It's just me and my 1 and 2 star gems and my normal gems that are ranked between rank 4 and 6. 4, 5, and 6. That's it. And I'm currently at 1.2k resonance. Right? 1200 resonance. Here in the Conqueror PvP, I was equipping the 5-star gems. It was a mixture of 5-star gems and 2-star gems. Right? But now I realize that it's better just to go just all 1 and 2-star gems for damage. You just put all the damage gems. And it's working out better like that. You see? Had I known that, I would have just always kept using 1 and 2-star gems in my Conqueror PvP builds also. So what does that mean? That means that the 1 and 2-star gems are actually better than the 5-star gems if there's no resonance involved. That's what it means. This is proof, you know, this is proof. You know, some of these matches, they were still mixed, right? But now moving forward, I have a bunch of matches now. The matches that I'm playing in Conqueror PvP, it's just 1 and 2-star gems only. So what does that mean? That means that the 1 and 2 star gems are actually better than the 5-star gems when there's no resonance involved. And that's the truth. Right? Because a lot of 5-star gems, they have that 20-second cooldown before you can use it again. The effect, the gem effect. 20 seconds is a long ass fucking time. You know what I'm saying? It's better to have that permanent stat, that flat extra damage stat or whatever, from the 1 and 2 star gems the whole time running, instead of having to wait 20 seconds for that next 5-star gem effect. So the 1 and 2 star gems are actually better than 5-star gems if there's no resonance involved. I proved that already. And that's what I'm saying. Why do you guys think I'm so good at the game? Because I've been playing like this for years, right? That's why nobody can match me on this shit. I'm not trying to brag and boast. Like, I know it seems like I'm bragging and boasting, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to point out the facts here. You know, that's why I'm so good at the game, right? Because for years, for almost 4 years, I've been playing the game under these conditions. That's why when I play fair play PvP, like Conqueror PvP or Alley of Blood, I'm just in a whole different level of skill. I'm in a whole different dimension of skill, PvP skill. Because every day, you know, I've just been getting one-shotted and fucked up in the battlegrounds from unlegit pay-to-win PvP. You know, that I just know all the movements. I know all the movements already, you know. I know when I die, it's just unlegit. I know the guy is just, he killed me because he's invincible. He killed me because he's untargetable. That's the only way they're gonna get me. He has an invincible 1-2 shot build or untargetable 1-2 shot build. That's it. That's the only way I die in this game. Or if the guy's cheating somehow. Other than that, I'm not gonna die in the battlefield, in the battlegrounds. You know, in the Conquer PvP, in fair play PvP, it's extremely difficult to kill me without having all that shit. You know, you have to be pretty much invincible to kill me in the game. Right there's another example. See, right, that was a barb. He was invincible. His undying rage procced, and then that's why I died. I think you guys are starting to understand what I'm talking about now. And there's gonna be players who are gonna talk shit about it, but again, you know, I know for a fact they're not gonna be talking with a straight face, talking shit about my PvP skills. They know that I'm the truth on this shit, you know, and they're just gonna be coming from a place of hate or jealousy or envy, and I get it, you know, it's the internet, and they're just gonna talk their horse shit because that's the kind of person they are. And this isn't a case of me trying to eat that I have to eat humble pie or something either. Okay, I'm just claiming what I earned. Okay, I earned this, and I'm claiming it. It's simple, right? If you earn something, you'd want to claim it also, right? That's just the way it works with human nature, right? If you honestly believe you earned something, you're gonna want to claim it. Well, that's the same thing I'm trying to do here, right? I post videos about my PvP and all that, my PvP matches and my skill level and all that, and it shows, and that's what I'm trying to make y'all understand on this shit. Here, for example, let's see what's going on here. Right, it's like I'm fighting multiple players. The guy was invincible again. See, it's the same barb. It's invincible. I'm dead with his 1-2 shot build. All right. So, anyways, y'all. I try to break it down as best as I can on all this, you know. And it's not the whale's fault, don't get me wrong either, you know. I'm not trying to say it's the whale's fault, you know. It's not their fault that the game is pay to win, right? They're just doing what the game allows them to do. If you can pay for power, if you're a whale, guess what? You're pretty much going to pay for power, you know, because that's what the game is intended. That's how the game works, you know, and that's what it is, right? It's not just this game, it's all the pay-to-win games. That's just how it goes. There's so many pay-to-win games out there nowadays, right? Where the whales are like, hey, I'm a whale. The game is pay-to-win. I know what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna freaking pay for power, and then that's the way it goes. Let me get some water here real quick. Holy shit, hold on. All right. So, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah. So, we just gotta, that's the plan, y'all. That's the plan. I'm gonna make this the True Immortal Crusades, my True Immortal Crusades campaign. It's not gonna happen unless Blizzard gives me a max resonance account for being the #1 player, aka Diablo. Right? I'm Diablo, y'all. Not in a religious sense. I put my disclaimer there on all my descriptions because I know what it sounds like, what it looks like when people try to do that shit. And I'm not trying to claim to be the devil or anything like that, right? The game is called Diablo Immortal, from the Diablo franchise made by Blizzard Entertainment. I'm the #1 PvP player of Diablo Immortal. And that's why I'm calling myself Diablo. I'm the lead character. I'm the main character of the franchise, of the game, of the title character. That's the only relation there, right? If the game was called Mario Brothers, then I'd be Mario. You know what I'm saying? That kind of logic. So that's all I'm saying with that. I don't want nobody to think of me as some kind of God or devil or anything like that. I'm a human being just like everybody else, obviously. I'm just I'm just really good at what I do in the player versus player, in my player versus player skills in the video game. That's it. It's a video game. Happened to be called Diablo, and that's what it is. And that's why I'm so passionate about all this, because it's the truth. I made it happen. I proved it, I put all the work in the game to be able to make this actually happen. And I'm just asking Blizzard to honor the truth, that's all. To recognize me as Diablo of the entire Diablo franchise. Like I said before, there's other Diablo games out there, right? Diablo 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one, Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal is the pay-to-win version of a Diablo game, so it's the most difficult as far as PvP is concerned, right? The other Diablo games is pretty much just speed running. It's a bunch of PvE, which it's its own skill also, right? It's its own skill. And there is some PvE element. There's some PvP elements there also, but it's not as big as this one, right? No other Diablo game has this kind of investment been made where players spent hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million to upgrade their character just to be able to compete in the PvP. So because this is the pay-to-win version of Diablo, it's the most, it's the one that dictates it's the most difficult. And since I'm the #1 player of this game, of this particular Diablo game, that's why I'm able to claim the title of the franchise title, the title name, which is Diablo. If you give me the meta build of whatever Diablo game out there, with the exact min-max meta build or whatever, and the skill order perfect and everything like that, I'm most likely going to be able to win in those also, since I'm able to do it here already. And yeah, It's a simple logic like that, you know. So I can't wait, you know. I can't wait for the day for Blizzard to honor the truth. Right? I'm 100% confident that it's me. And I think people are starting to understand it also now. I know there's players out there that already know that it's me, right? Because it's so easy to believe my story. It's so easy to believe my story, and I'm just asking Blizzard to honor the truth. I have the my list of things, you know, in my description, right? Things like a max resonance account, my so I can do my campaign of the True Immortal, the True Immortal Crusades campaign. It would make for great content. Even my own office, my own little small office there in Blizzard headquarters, all decked out, all decorated with all the Diablo merchandise gear and everything there. And then I would be streaming. I would be streaming this game. I'd be streaming all the Diablo games. Not just that, but also what's it called? I'd be streaming Blizzard games like World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Hearthstone. I've been actually playing some Hearthstone, Hearthstone or Hearthstone. I think it's Hearthstone. I've been getting into that lately. I've been playing a couple matches. I'm still at Bronze 2 or something. I just got into it, and it seems pretty fun. You know, it's pretty fun, the challenge. I'm playing a Face Hunter deck. And it's pretty cool. You know, the Hearthstone card game. And but yeah, you know, I would definitely stream all that stuff and at Blizzard headquarters. The Diablo games, all the Blizzard games, right? Diablo games, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, even Overwatch. All the Blizzard games that are worth playing, you know, that are cool to check out. I would be streaming that there at Blizzard headquarters, at Blizz HQ. I think it would be cool, you know. Why not? I'm Diablo. I earned the fucking title. You would think Blizzard would want their franchise player, the #1 franchise player, who can call himself Diablo, who earned the nickname of Diablo, working with them over there, you know, and hanging out, you know. I think it'd be cool. It would make for a great show. Why? Because it's real. Because it's the truth. In return for honoring some of my requests here that I put in all my descriptions, in return, Blizzard, you guys get the #1 player of your franchise. You know, building the brand, promoting Blizzard Entertainment, and once the whole community knows that it's actually me, well, there you go. Now everybody who plays Diablo is going to want to know who I am and all that. And, you know, it would help with the ratings and the boost, and it'll help promote the franchise even more. And now I get it that it's like I've been saying in other videos, right? It's a curveball here, you know. You guys weren't expecting this kind of thing to happen, but it happened already, you know. Somebody out there is claiming to be Diablo, man. You know, and that person's me. So now you guys have two choices. Either you guys honor the truth, or pretend I don't exist, and then it's just not going to look right on your guys' part because, you know, you're not honoring the truth. And I'm sure you guys want to honor the truth here, you know. So it's either one or two ways. Either you guys honor the truth or you don't honor the truth. Which one is it, you know? I thought you guys would be happy, you know, that Diablo exists, you know, that a player can actually claim to be Diablo, you know. Instead of instead of me having to do all this shit like the way I'm doing right now. You guys honestly believe you guys honestly believe that I would be doing all this shit if it wasn't the truth? Why do you think I'm doing this? I'm doing this because it's the fucking truth. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm out here on the internet Claiming to be fucking Diablo, man. Claiming to be Diablo of the whole fucking thing. How many more videos do I gotta put out there of me going crazy in the battlegrounds, in the Conquer PvP, in the playable matches? You know? How many more videos I gotta make like this, you know? Where I get most kills or whatever. You know, because, you know, it's just one of those things, y'all. We gotta get past this already, y'all. The truth is the truth. Hopefully the truth will be honored here because it's the truth. And hopefully you guys will respect that. The truth spreads like wildfire. That's all I'm saying. You know, people who doubt me, people who think I'm delusional or not, all that stuff, they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. And they're just coming from a place of hate or jealousy or envy or whatever the fuck they're on, you know? So, you know, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys, you know? It's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. Either way, you know, I know who I am. And I hope you guys can honor the truth, you know, and I get invited to not only Blizzard headquarters and start working there with y'all so we can make the best Diablo games possible and to give the best Diablo show possible in the streams, but also going to BlizzCon, you know, presenting me at BlizzCon. I saw the Diablo costume there you guys have, and I'd wear the Diablo costume, like a different one, right? A modified one, an updated one. And, you know, I'd wear the costume. I'd be there on stage, and then I would go on stage, and you guys present me as Diablo, and then everybody would say, the whole crowd would be screaming. First I'll be going in, I'll be presented on stage, and then everybody starts screaming. I'll be hyping up the crowd inside the Diablo costume, and then the whole crowd will say, well, the whole crowd will be chanting. They'll be screaming, Diablo, Diablo, Diablo.